Native-centered news is not easy. But with your support, we're able to provide accurate information about Standing Rock, Line 3, treaty violations, and COVID-19 in our Native communities. Please visit Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon and donate if you can. That's Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon. Pinigigi, and thank you for your support.
Doherty Family College at the University of St. Thomas offers an affordable 2-year associate degree with a seamless path to a bachelor's. Located in downtown Minneapolis, students receive free textbooks, a laptop, meals, career coaching, tutoring, a Metro Transit pass, mentorship, and paid internships, all at Minnesota's largest private college. Ready to turn dreams into reality? Apply now at dfc.stthomas.edu. Doherty Family College. Your journey to success starts here.
Oh, this is Robert Pilot. For Native relatives, healing is more than just sobriety. It's reclaiming Indigenous masculinity as a sacred, balanced force. Join Hunter Thundercloud for Native Roots Radio presents Controlled Fire. We explore how personal recovery uplifts our communities. It's time men step back into roles as mentors and spiritual leaders. Recovery is collective, and it starts with us. Tune in the first and third Wednesday of every month at 6 p.m. for Native Roots Radio presents Controlled Fire. Let's tend the fire together.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minnepolis Air. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minnepolis Air dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minnepolis Air on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
Support comes from the Walker Arts Center. Did you know that the Walker has a cinema that shows film almost every week? From artist talks, genre-defined performances, and world premieres to archival shorts and experimental soundscapes, the Walker Cinema explores all modes of global and local filmmaking. Visit walkerart.org/cinema to learn more. That's walkerart.org/cinema. See you at the movies.
With your AM 950 weather, this is Adam. It was 62 under cloudy skies today. Tonight, 36, and the clouds continue into tomorrow with a high of 49 and a low tomorrow of 34. The Great Wall Restaurant, specializing in Szechuan and Peking Mandarin cuisine, has menu favorites like pan-fried dumplings, sesame chicken, hot and sour soup, beef and broccoli, and so much more. For takeout, call 952-927-4439 or see their whole menu at greatwallrestaurant.us.
Portions of Native Roots Radio may be pre-recorded.
They are going to become more brutal.
Because all the hippies were trying to be Indians anyway.
They're going to become more repressive because it's a matter of dollars and their illusionary concepts of power. We must live in balance with the earth.
And also with recent happenings that wounded me.
I am awake. Welcome to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakun Jahad. Hey, Kadagi to all my friends and relatives in four directions. You are listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot. Hey, this episode is presented in partnership with the city of Minneapolis for Minnepolis Air, American Indian Relations, who host monthly conversations on the second Wednesday of the month regarding happenings that impact our Native communities in Minneapolis. We're grateful for the partnership to keep up to date on topics that can better support the largest urban Indian population in the country. I'll pass things along to Minnepolis Air, American Indian Community Specialist, and our guest host, Christine McDonald. Take it away. Ho!
Thank you, Robert. Bonjour, Ogadaki Gabawik Nindijnakas, Ajajak Nindundem. I am Christine McDonald. I'm the American Indian Community Specialist with the city of Minneapolis, and I'm your host for Minnepolis Air. Joining us tonight, we are going to speak with Will Lehman from Hennepin County about some of the economic hardships caused by Metro surge this winter, specifically rental help that's needed for families. Thank you for joining us tonight, Will.
Absolutely. It's great to be here.
Great. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Yeah, certainly. So I have worked in the housing and homelessness arena for my entire career. And actually, I grew up here in the Twin Cities. I'm a native of the Twin Cities. And I have dedicated basically all of my energy towards tackling our homelessness crisis here locally and in other communities as well. I started my career working in North Minneapolis as a case manager, supporting young people experiencing homelessness, and ended up moving out to Los Angeles for a number of years, worked with LA County to help them address their local homelessness crisis, which is obviously quite tremendous there, and then relocated back to the Twin Cities in 2021, started with Hennepin County in 2021, and I'm currently working as an area manager leading our homelessness prevention work at Hennepin County. I am absolutely honored and privileged to do this work every day. I'm fully committed to supporting and standing up systems that are culturally responsive and equitable, ensuring that folks who are most impacted by housing instability gain full access to the resources and the housing stability that they deserve.
Thank you so much. The city of Minneapolis recently transferred funds to Hennepin County to administer housing assistance specifically for Minneapolis residents. Can you tell us a bit about how that works and who can apply?
Absolutely. Yeah. So we're really excited about this partnership between the city of Minneapolis and Hennepin County. And it's supporting a broader emergency rent assistance system that's called Rent Help Hennepin. And Rent Help Hennepin offers one-time financial assistance and support services to tenants who are facing eviction. We focused a lot on financial assistance because 90% of evictions are due to non-payment of rent, which means that really this is an economics issue at the household level. Households are struggling to make ends meet, and that is what's leading to their eviction risk. So we've invested a lot in our Rent Help Hennepin system. It's a coordinated system. We have 20 plus community-based organizations participating in this system. That includes a number of providers who are specializing in serving the Indigenous, Native population, Native communities, including Metro Indian Women's Resource Center, which I'll talk about shortly. And so what we're doing with the City of Minneapolis Rent Assistance Funds is funneling those dollars through a Rent Help Hennepin network. And we're working through 3 providers who are culturally specific and really well positioned to serve communities who have been disproportionately impacted by Operation Metro Surge. So I named one of those agencies, Metro Indian Women's Resource Center. The other 2 providers are Clues and Isaroon.
And so what makes people eligible for that?
Yeah, so we're targeting our assistance for folks who are in the lowest income band in our community, and that is 30% of area median income or below. Area median income is actually an income threshold that's set by the federal U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, and those income thresholds are updated every year. So we simply adopt those thresholds, and folks need to be income eligible in order to access our emergency rent assistance under 30% AMI. The other criteria for the City of Minneapolis dollars are that they are Minneapolis residents. They need to have an address within the City of Minneapolis, and also that they have either a 30-day notice from their property manager. That is the last step before an eviction filing with the court, or they already have a court summons. They have an upcoming court hearing. So those are the 3 criteria that folks need to meet in order to be eligible for assistance with the City of Minneapolis dollars. We also have a number of other funding streams within Rent Help Hennepin, and those funding streams are limited to folks with an eviction filing. So they have to have an upcoming court hearing.
So that's the key, is that it's an upcoming court hearing. They've already, their landlord has already gone down to the courthouse and filed that eviction. So it's a notice to evict beforehand is not eligible.
Not for our other funding streams. It's just the City of Minneapolis Rent Assistance Funds, where you can have either that 30-day notice before the court filing or the court filing.
Okay. So it's the notice or the notice of intent.
Correct.
Right. So I know people who have gotten like the notice of intent, so it hasn't actually hit the courthouse yet.
Right.
But it's their notice that if you don't get this rent paid, we're going to end up having to go down to the court and file that actual eviction notice.
That's correct.
I just wanted to clarify that it's that in between that part that it's gotten really scary for a lot of people right now who have had that economic impact from Metro Surge. And then how can people apply?
Yeah, so folks can apply through directly through the 3 providers that we're working with to administer the City of Minneapolis dollars. So reaching out to Metro Indian Women's Resource Center, Isaroon, or Clues. And we've got a few phone numbers that we can share. Perhaps further into the program if that's helpful. There's also an opportunity for folks to reach out to the county, and if they do that and they're not eligible for county assistance, but they're eligible for the City of Minneapolis dollars, we will refer them over to one of those providers based on their preferences. And so that avenue is through the Tenant Resource Connections Hotline, or the TRC, and I can share that phone number as well.
Sure. Can you go ahead and share it right now?
All right, I'll do it right now. So the Tenant Resource Connections line is 612-767-9737.
Mm-hmm.
And then the phone number for Metro Indian Women's Resource Center is 612-728-2000.
And so they're the ones who are taking the calls. What is the intake? Do they have specific hours that they're doing intake, or is by phone the only way that they can do this?
So folks can reach out over email as well. There is an option for in-person connection. I don't have that email address handy right now, but but there are multiple avenues through which folks can engage with staff at MIWRC. And the hotline is actually voicemail based. So leaving a message and someone will call you back during business hours, typically Monday through Friday. So it is helpful to note if there's a particular preference in terms of time of day when you'd like a call back. But staff will make multiple attempts to reach residents who have connected and inquired about rent assistance.
Okay. So, but they're not set up to have just walk-ins come in.
I believe MIWRC is able to do walk-ins. I don't have that information immediately available today, unfortunately. So I would recommend starting with the phone number to be certain. Okay. Yeah.
And then, what was my next question going to be? So even though some of these organizations are culturally specific, can anybody go to any of those organizations and ask for that assistance?
Yes, absolutely. So each of the three providers specialize in serving particular cultural communities, but they actually serve every resident of any cultural background. And so it's really just based on the individual preference. Whomever folks would like to reach out to, if you're eligible, you'll be served. Okay,
great. And how many months of back due rent and utilities could someone apply for?
Yeah, so there's just one cap that's pretty high level that we require for assistance, and that's $10,000 for a single application or 10 months of rental arrears. So it's very rare that a household will meet those caps in a single application. Other than that, if you come in with $8,000 of rental arrears and you meet eligibility, you can receive support for the full amount of rental arrears and utilities as well.
Because it's quite possible, because Metro Surge started in December, actually. So it's possible that some people are really facing some heavy duty back rent.
Absolutely. Yeah, and our focus is on fully preventing the eviction, right? And the best assurance to do that is to provide assistance that fully solves for the emergency, versus perhaps capping assistance at $1,000 or $2,000. So it obviously takes a bigger bite out of the budget, but we want to make sure that folks are staying in their homes ultimately.
Thanks.
Hey, we'll be right back. You're listening to Minneapolis Air on Native Roots Radio. Oh, wow.
There's a powerful story being shared at All My Relations Arts in Minneapolis. Unchi Said So. A solo exhibition by Danielle Seawalker brings forward Native stories shaped by collective identity, generational knowledge, and teachings passed down through community. Through bold color and portraiture, this work honors the significance of grandmothers in Native culture while reflecting the idea that sovereignty begins at home. On view now through June 6th. Plan your visit today at allmyrelationsarts.org.
This is Chase Iron Eyes announcing a new show on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota, powered by Native Roots Radio. The show is called Native American Patriot Talk Radio. What will we do on the show? We are going to explore and dive into the source of American constitutional sovereignty, the intersection of Native American and legal issues. Find us the first and third Tuesday of every month at 6 p.m. on AM 950.
Heart health is more than just the physical well-being. It represents like a foundation of vitality, resilience, and the ability to live fully.
Your heart carries stories of resilience, love, and survival. Caring for your heart means honoring yourself and the generations before and after you. It means protecting your ability to gather, laugh, and be present. Learn more about your heart health at hennepincounty.gov/heart-beats, because your story matters and your heart beats for generations.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minnepolis Air. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minnepolis Air dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minnepolis Air on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
I'm Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan, and I want to be your next United States Senator, and you are listening to Native Roots Radio.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot. Hey, welcome back, everyone. We are here with Christine McDonald and her guest. This is Minnepolis Air, American Indian Relations. Take it away.
Welcome back. Tonight, our first guest is Will Lehman with Hennepin County, and we're talking about the economic impact that Metro Surge had on renters in Minneapolis and Hennepin County. There is a rental assistance program that Minneapolis helped fund and Hennepin County is administering. We have in the American Indian community, the Minnesota Indian Women's Resource Center is one of the provider organizations that you can go to apply for that assistance, and the number there is 612-728-2000. And you can also call the Tenant Resource Connections line at 612-767-9737. So welcome back, Will. We're going to jump right back into our conversation. We just found out that there isn't really a maximum number of months that you can go back, but the maximum amount is around 10,000 that people can ask for. One of the things that I've heard concern about is that some people might not have a formal lease. And so what kind of documentation can people bring in if they don't have that formal lease? Oh, I can't hear. He's muted, Robert.
No, I don't think he is.
Oh,
Will,
no.
do you want to try and leave and come back? I think something kind of funky just happened.
We have had this once before. I know that. So, and then it did help. They went out and they came back in and they were able to get it. Yeah. Okay. So we have been hearing from Will Lehman from Hennepin County, who's been telling us about the rental assistance that's been made available. To qualify, your household must make no more than the 30% area median income. So for a family of 8, that's around $4,370 per month. And if you need to find other limits for other household sizes, you can look that up at minneapolis.mn.gov/emergency rent. And then for this specific program, you also need to actually live in Minneapolis. Welcome back, Will. Let's see if it worked.
Oh, geez, that's
No.
weird. Yeah, you're not muted here. Check your settings, please. Hey, maybe Christine, what you can do too is give out those phone numbers again. That was pretty cool.
For sure. Yeah. So the Hennepin County Renter Assistance Program is partnering with some culturally specific organizations. And for our community, that organization is the Minnesota Indian Women's Resource Center that you can call and apply for that assistance. And that number is 612-728-2000. And then there's another number that you can call, which is for the Tenant Resource Connections line at 612-767-9737. Let's give it a try.
Try out. Well, give us a count. No. Oh,
No.
Jeez.
No.
Try one
Okay,
more.
testing again. Can you hear me?
There we go. There we go. There you are.
All right. I just
All right.
muted and unmuted. So there you go.
Yeah.
You never know.
Yeah, I've heard that. I remember another guest having that issue, and it happened when we came back from breaks. And I don't
Very interesting.
remember what the fix was or what that actual issue was. But welcome back. Glad we got
Thank
it
you.
figured out. I'm happy to hear you. So we left with the question was okay, here we go. A lot of people don't actually have a formal lease with a landlord. And so what kind of documents can people show to prove what they owe?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. And we do see a lot of instances in which folks have informal leasing arrangements. And we want to make sure that our assistance is available maximally to those situations as well. And so what we do require a formal lease where there is a formal lease, but there's an alternative available if a formal lease is not in place, and that is called a shelter verification form. It's actually a statewide form that's used in a lot of different similar programs. And so in lieu of a formal lease, we'll invite for the property manager to fill out a shelter verification form. And for our purposes, that will verify that there is a leasing arrangement, whether formal or informal. And so folks don't have to meet that formal lease requirement in that instance.
And then there might be something, who knows why, but for some reason, what if I can't get a hold of my landlord, or my landlord refuses to answer me, and my rent is just piling up, and what can I do?
Yeah, it's a great question. That situation also comes up quite a bit. So our program, our system, regardless of which provider you're connected with, will help to liaise with your property manager, will help to communicate with your property manager if that's a need. There are also formal mediation services available across our system, and there's one provider in particular that we can make referrals to. It's called Community Mediation and Restorative Services, CMRS. They are experts in helping to resolve conflicts or miscommunications between tenants and property managers. So if there's a need for more directive support in our program, or an individual provider can't solve for that breakdown in communication, CMRS is a great resource that's available as well.
And what does that stand for?
Community Mediation and Restorative Services, CMRS.
Okay, and if they needed to find that, either that provider can connect that to that resource to them.
That's right. And I would actually love to share a website that contains all of this information that I'm sharing as well. Just a good sort of centralized place to go. And that is hennepincounty.gov/prevent-eviction. So again, that's hennepincounty.gov/prevent-eviction. So that contains information. All the information I've shared today basically is available on that single webpage, including information about mediation services.
Okay. So are there resources for people who live in places like Richfield or Bloomington?
Yes, absolutely. So our Rent to Help Hennepin system spans the entire county. In fact, about half of our assistance typically goes to Minneapolis residents, and the other half goes to residents in suburban Hennepin County. So very much Bloomington, Richfield, Brooklyn Center, Brooklyn Park. Those are some of the city jurisdictions that we serve the most because they're facing disproportionate amounts of eviction risk. But we're serving every single zip code across Hennepin County through our program. And only the city of Minneapolis funds have that residence requirements. The rest of our funding streams, it doesn't matter where you live, so long as you're within Hennepin County, you can be eligible for assistance.
And so we do know, I think I forgot to ask how much money the Minneapolis put into that. And was that matched for just Minneapolis?
Right. So I understand that there was a matching funding commitment from the Wilson Foundation. The Wilson Foundation contribution is not coming through the county Rent to Help Hennepin system. That will be administered separately. But there was $2 million approved by the city council that will be coming to the county, already has come to the county. We're pushing out that assistance already. In fact, we've already administered $150,000 in rent assistance. And we're on pace to spend about $300,000 every month. So I think we'll have enough funding from the city for about 6 months or so.
Great.
Within our entire network of providers, we have about $12 million in funding for emergency rent assistance in 2026 alone. That's countywide, including Minneapolis. So I just want folks to know that there is help available through our system. And there is, of course, significant.
And it hasn't run out yet.
No, it hasn't run out.
So I think that was one of the things that I was thinking is that time is ticking and people are looking at evictions, and that I just had this thought that this money was just going to go through really quickly. So I really appreciate it. It's gone through about 150,000, and that was
Yeah.
2 million from the city of Minneapolis into the Hennepin County programming, and then the matching funds from Wilson's is another program.
That's right.
We don't have information on that right now, but we do know that that was put aside and is out there for folks as well too.
Yes, absolutely.
Great. And so real quickly, we're about a minute left. Is there anything else that you'd like to share? It's been some great information for our folks.
I think it's important to note as well that the Hennepin County is providing no cost legal representation for any tenant who's going to housing court. And that's a really unique offering. I don't know of any county across the country that has made that provision. But if you're income eligible, you get a no cost attorney to advocate for you. And that's proven very critical to accomplish settlement agreements and achieve a good outcome at housing court for the tenants' purposes. So folks can reach out to our Adult Representation Services Department to make a request for a no-cost attorney. And I have a phone number to share as well for ARS. That phone number is 612-348-7012.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you being with us tonight.
Thanks for having me. Take care.
Hey, we'll be right back. You're listening to Minneapolis Air on Native Roots Radio. Hey, it's Robert Pilot from Native Roots Radio. For a meal that feeds your soul and health, check out Gatherings Cafe. Located in the renovative Minneapolis American Indian Center, Executive Chef Vernon Defoe and team serve up incredible indigenous flavors. Gatherings Cafe has amazing bison tacos featuring lean protein from native wise, corn tortillas, and homemade sides. It's fresh, local food rooted in ancestral knowledge. Stop by for breakfast or lunch. That's Gatherings Cafe, where tradition meets innovation.
Doherty Family College at the University of St. Thomas offers an affordable 2-year associate degree with a seamless path to a bachelor's. Located in downtown Minneapolis, students receive free textbooks, a laptop, meals, career coaching, tutoring, a Metro Transit pass, mentorship, and paid internships, all at Minnesota's largest private college. Ready to turn dreams into reality? Apply now at dfc.stthomas.edu. Doherty Family College. Your journey to success starts here.
Support comes from the Walker Arts Center. Did you know that the Walker has a cinema that shows film almost every week? From artist talks, genre-defined performances, and world premieres to archival shorts and experimental soundscapes, the Walker Cinema explores all modes of global and local filmmaking. Visit walkerart.org/cinema to learn more. That's walkerart.org/cinema. See you at the movies.
There's a powerful story being shared at All My Relations Arts in Minneapolis. Unchi Said So, a solo exhibition by Danielle Seawalker, brings forward Native stories shaped by collective identity, generational knowledge, and teachings passed down through community. Through bold color and portraiture, this work honors the significance of grandmothers in Native culture while reflecting the idea that sovereignty begins at home. On view now through June 6th. Plan your visit today at allmyrelationsarts.org.
Culture prevents so many negative things from happening to us as individuals and as communities.
Strong roots begin with a healthy heart. For Indigenous women, heart health is part of caring for community, culture, and future generations. Even small steps can help protect what matters most. Discover ways to support your heart at hennepincounty.gov/hearts-beats, because your heart beats for generations. AM 950 KTN up, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minnepolis Air. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minnepolis Air dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minnepolis Air on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
Hey, Minnesota, it's Brad Friedman, host of the Bradcast. We'll expose all the latest schemes, frauds, and more. Weeknights at 7 on AM 950.
This is Chase Iron Eyes announcing a new show on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota, powered by Native Roots Radio. The show is called Native American Patriot Talk Radio. What will we do on the show? We are going to explore and dive into the source of American constitutional sovereignty, the intersection of Native American and legal issues. Find us the first and third Tuesday of every month at 6 p.m. on AM 950.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for partly cloudy skies today with a high near 53. Tonight, partly cloudy with a low around 35. And Wednesday, sunny with a high near 54.
The Great Wall Restaurant brings classic Szechuan and Peking Mandarin dishes right to the Twin Cities, featuring favorites like pan-fried dumplings and fish fillet in ginger sauce. Stop by the Great Wall location at 4515 France Avenue South and browse their full extensive menu at greatwallrestaurant.us. That's greatwallrestaurant.us.
Hi, I'm Jane Fonda, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot. Hey, this episode is supported by the City of Minneapolis with Minnepolis Air, American Indian Relations. And here's our guest host, Christine McDonald. Ho-wah!
Oh, wow. Welcome back. I'm Christine McDonald, American Indian Community Specialist with the City of Minneapolis, and your host for Minnepolis Air. Tonight, our next guest is Anthony Taylor. Anthony is with us from the Minneapolis Neighborhood and Community Relations Department. Thank you for joining us tonight, Anthony.
Thank you. I'm honored to be on the show with you, Christine, and Robert Pilot. It's been a tremendous relationship over the last really couple years, so I'm super excited to be here today.
Yeah, I'm glad to have this opportunity to do an interview. I know you've been able to step in a pinch for me a few times this past year, and that's actually one of the reasons why we're on here on a Tuesday and not a Wednesday. So we got the opportunity to make up one of my shows that I didn't get to do last year. So let's jump into it. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what brought you to work at the city?
Yeah, and that's a great question. I'm originally from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, so moved to Minneapolis in 2001 and started working in education. And I worked for Robbinsville area schools for about 16 years. Have a really, really, really good passion for like young people. And I always just think that young people are our future. And we say that. And sometimes people think of the song, but it's actually really true. Like our young people really shape who we are as a community. And I really enjoyed that. From a relatively small family, I'm the oldest of 3 kids, grew up with a loving mother and father. Sports for me has always been important. Was lucky enough to get a scholarship to play football in Iowa and made a lot of good relationships. And during college, I really wanted to be kind of in the law, kind of probation, parole arena.
Oh, wow.
Wanted to, yeah, I know, right? Actually, I actually wanted to be a lawyer too at the same time. So my major was criminology, and I'll get to what's most relevant. And I wanted to do that. So I ended up getting a criminology degree. And after I graduated, I started working in a youth shelter and just fell in love with young people. So I had the opportunity to move here and work in Robbinsville area schools and just really enjoyed that quite a bit. In 2001, I wanted to change. I wanted to do something a little bit different to kind of maybe expand who I am and kind of figure out exactly what my lane was. And fortunately for me, there was a job open in the city in neighborhood community relations. You're my colleague. And I was hired as the African-American community specialist and did that for quite a while, maybe 6 years, maybe I think, and was able to go into a leadership role. And now I'm the cultural and community engagement manager here for the city of Minneapolis. So Really, I think my lane is totally different. Like I tell people all the time, Christine, is that I don't know how I got here at all. Like I really don't know how I got here. So, and I'll end this quick too. One of my passions is music and just hanging out with my 8-year-old son Quincy. So who's in the next room right now, probably ear hustle.
Hey, Quincy. Love it when he comes to work with you.
Yeah, thank you.
And I think that's one of the cool things about where we work too, is it's a welcoming environment. I think ever since I started with the city, it's always been, having my daughter and then having my granddaughter, and just the kids add so much, and it helps us, we see each other as a family, as family people. So I love it when you bring your son to work
Thank
too.
you.
So what is community engagement? No, let's go back. What is neighborhood and community relations? What
Yeah,
does NCR do?
absolutely. NCR is a really relatively small and young department compared to other departments in the city. So if you think about these large departments like regulatory services or CPED
Right.
with hundreds of employees, we're a small group of people who actually consult our other internal departments on good engagement, right? So I think if anybody who goes to these community meetings that are hosted by the city, it's a lot of being able to inform community on what are some things that are helpful, right? So neighborhood and community relations is that department who helps craft those engagement opportunities for our internal department. So really what it boils down to is you want to do good engagement, right? You don't want to cause more trauma. You want to be able to be understanding of the cultural aspects, what each community brings, and we're able to kind of craft that. Our department is multifaceted. So Christine is a part of the community specialists, which are 7 folks who are dedicated for their own cultural community, who build relationships. And really, if you think about our whole entire department, it's all about relationship building. We also have a neighborhoods team as well who works with our specific neighborhood groups throughout the city. We're probably close to almost 70 neighborhood organizations, and those folks work with those neighborhood organizations to provide information and resources, and really being able to have groups that really are protective and understanding of their community, which I think is a lot different. I think over the years, you think about how neighborhood organizations have developed, and now it's something I think is really special because they are actually partnering with different cultural groups.
Right.
So we have some neighborhood specialists, I think, that are really doing great work. We have an administration team who does a lot of the behind the scenes work for our department, whether it's interpretation services, whether it's websites and social media, and just really a group of folks that are what I call the glue to NCR, which I think is valuable for us to be able to do our work. And lastly, we have the Office of Immigrant and Refugee Affairs in our department as well. So we're a department who likes to make sure that all our communities are engaged. NCR, I think, if you think about it in a broader sense, just want to make sure that we are providing authentic, relevant, real-time information, not only to our internal departments, but our community members.
Right. Right. I think one thing that sticks out for me is people think like you just do an engagement session and all you're going to do is you're just going to show up and listen. And there's a lot more consultation that's gone into those things, thinking about where people congregate, maybe people are already having existing meetings. What are you trying to engage them for? What is the end result? And then being able to go back and provide information to what you heard from that community. Because a lot of times that's what people want, is they want to be heard.
Absolutely. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No,
I may have
not at all.
a little lag too in the internet connection, but Christine, I couldn't have said it better myself. And I'll just add to accessible, right? Accessible places, accessible information, whether it's interpretation, is it gender neutral bathrooms. I think that's our lens, Christine. So you're 100% right.
And I think one of the other things is it's the external engagement, but then there's the internal pieces. When you tell us a little bit about the learning labs that the team does. and what the
Absolutely.
goal is of those.
Absolutely, Christine. We have a learning lab series that we provide to our internal and external folks. So when I talk about internal and external, think about internal is our city departments, and our external is really the community, whether it's neighborhood organizations or community-based organizations or people who just want to learn about how do you do good engagements in cultural communities. So we host a series of learning labs with all of our cultural specialists, plus our neighborhoods team, as well as OIRA, to provide information on what's best practices and good historical information to understand about cultural communities. The most important thing that I think our lens is that we don't want to re-traumatize, right? So we don't want our internal partners not knowing exactly best practices to engage these cultural communities and then end up causing harm. And we don't want to do that. So what we do is offer an hour and a half learning lab to talk about aspects of each community, whether it's historical trauma, community beginnings, right? Topics of interest, whether it's knowing the best ways to engage with our trusted partners, and then events in community. I think it's helpful. Our goal, Christine, as you know, is to make sure that we provide some information and some insight to all of our communities, because all our communities aren't a monolith, right? And each of our communities have different ways that we understand what good engagement is. So we host these learning labs, and we do it also twice in one session. So we'll have an in-person, and we also want to make sure that our folks who aren't able to attend in person are able to do virtual learning labs. So think of this, I tell people all the time, think of this as like a college course, but like 1.0, right? So it's not the full breadth. And Christine you do a great job with these learning labs. It's up to folks to be able to get this information, and then your mission is to be able to find more information and do your research and your homework so that you are able to have some knowledge going forward to engage our communities. And last thing I'll say, Christine, I'm a talker, so I'm gonna try to keep it.
No, that's good. That's what we're here for.
I'm trying to keep it brief. The biggest thing I think that folks that we do with these learning labs is understanding that a lot of times you only have really one chance to really engage our community. If you do it the wrong way, it could be not beneficial to you to be able to come back and build those relationships. So we want to provide that so folks can have a good experience, and it's mutually beneficial to our community as well as our internal partners.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a couple things I just want to tag on to that, and that is the fact that NCR has done a really great job at training us in engagement. So like I have had the opportunity to go through TOPS training, through Art of Hosting training, and through IAP2, International Association of Public Participation. So we do have credentials and engagement, and then tagging that into our cultural experience and expertise.
Absolutely. And I think one of the things too, real quick, I know we're running out of time, is that we really mean what we say, and our relationships are very important to our people.
Hey, we'll be right back. You're listening to Minnepolis Air on Native Roots Radio.
Maintaining our health, particularly our heart health, is very important to us as a family.
Your heart gives you time with family, time with community, time to pass down what matters. Protecting your heart helps keep those moments alive. A visit with a healthcare provider can be one step toward a healthier future. Learn more at hennepincounty.gov/hearts-beats. Your heart health is essential because your heart beats for generations.
Doherty Family College at the University of St. Thomas offers an affordable 2-year associate degree with a seamless path to a bachelor's. Located in downtown Minneapolis, students receive free textbooks, a laptop, meals, career coaching, tutoring, a Metro Transit pass, mentorship, and paid internships, all at Minnesota's largest private college. Ready to turn dreams into reality? Apply now at dfc.stthomas.edu. Doherty Family College. Your journey to success starts here.
Support comes from the Walker Arts Center. Did you know that the Walker has a cinema that shows film almost every week? From artist talks, genre-defined performances, and world premieres to archival shorts and experimental soundscapes, the Walker Cinema explores all modes of global and local filmmaking. Visit walkerart.org/cinema to learn more. That's walkerart.org/cinema. See you at the movies.
If the statistics say that 1 in 3 Native women and 1 in 6 Native men have experienced sexual assault in their lifetime, it means our whole community is affected by sexual violence. 1 is too many. Don't stand by, stand up. Don't engage in acts of sexual violence, and shut down the dirty jokes, the gossip, the victim blaming and shaming. As a community, we can change the way we respond. Contact the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition to attend a workshop to learn more.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Hi, it's Dr. Evan Adams, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio. Hey, Victor, you better be listening.
In this portion of the show, we'd like to bring awareness to our wolf and bear populations throughout Turtle Island. Say no to the hunts.
This episode is supported by the city of Minneapolis with Minnepolis Air, American Indian Relations. And here's our guest host, Christine McDonald.
Welcome back. I'm Christine McDonald, American Indian Community Specialist with the city of Minneapolis. And my guest for this portion of the show is Anthony Taylor, who is with the Neighborhood and Community Relations Department. Welcome back, Anthony. Thank you.
Thank you. Excited again to be here.
Yes. Yeah. And so we've been talking about what NCR does and what the community specialist part of the department does. I like to think of our department as kind of like two pieces. One is really geography based, which would be our neighborhood support specialists who are assigned based on different neighborhood organizations across the city. And then the part that we work with, which is the community engagement specialist, which is people based. And so we have people that are assigned to different communities. And so we were talking about why community engagement matters, what NCR does. So what are some of the ways that the city invites community members to influence city decision making?
And that's a great question, and thank you for that. One of the things, there's so many ways, right? And I think the beauty of being able to invite community members to influence the decision making, for me, there's a couple things, right? So it's called the appointed boards and commissions, right? So folks are able to get on these what we call ABCs to talk about, and it's an advisory group. So there's many different advisory groups that interest you. You're able to be a part of these appointed boards and commissions. And it's really, I think, something that I think is super helpful, because ultimately at the end of the day, I think it lends a voice to decision making to our city leadership. Mm-hmm. There's also neighborhood organizations, which I talked about too, as well. I think is very important that you can be on these boards of your local neighborhood organizations and really be able to make some really good decisions on how your community operates, and resources and information, I think is very valuable. One of the low-key things, Christine, I think is really important is the public hearings, right? I think it's really important. So we talk about budget and many different things, right? So we can talk about appointments. These are opportunities for folks to be able to speak their truth, right? If something affects you. So there's budget that folks can come and talk about, that you can be able to talk in front of city council. To be able to speak your truth, I think is very important. I will say not all the time our electeds make some of the best decisions sometimes, but I always say that you regret what you don't say, right? So to me, I think that's very important, right? To be able to speak your truth. And really, to me, the one most important thing is to vote. Like, voting is important. Like, voting, you are the decision maker. Not a lot of times that community members and people have, the opportunities to really be the final decision makers. Well, voting is that, right? Voting is that. So I encourage folks to vote all the time. One of the things that I think is the beauty, Christine, of Minneapolis, that we always have some of the highest voter turnout in the country historically. So what that tells me, Christine, is that people are informed in the city, right? Doesn't mean that we need to stop. We need to always continue, but people are informed when it comes to voting. So if we're turning out all these people for these elections is important. And we do a great job of early voting as well. So people don't necessarily have to be able to get up and go to these polling places. You can vote early to go to these polling places, or you can also sit in your ballot, right? Which is important.
I think one of the new things too is the early voting pop-up events, so that you can actually vote early at any of these pop-up events that happen across the city. And that's put on by our election and voter services department. And I'm not sure which events are coming up, but I know that they're already starting to do work around elections that'll be happening around our area coming in November. The other thing you brought up that I thought was important is the participation on boards and commissions. Now, really, when you say representation matters, this is an opportunity for people to get in and represent their community and have a voice and have a say for what's concerning and what is like hot topics for your communities. I think about how we are often asked by the Civil Rights Commission to try to find people who are willing to apply and sit on. They have like 3 different boards or commissions, I think, that are attached to their department, as well as even the police department has a high level of, well, I wouldn't say high level, but a few different boards and commissions that interact with that department as well. But yeah, representation matters. This is your opportunity to come out and be engaged and have a voice. And so when we talk about engagement and participation, what are some of the things that the city is looking and working on right now for people to provide input on?
And thank you again for that. First of all, before I go, I am super stoked, and thank you, Christine, for inviting me on. I think I'm like a kid in a candy store because I can talk to you, my colleague, to talk about some of the things we talk about all the time. So I'm just super excited. So there's so many things here in the city that people can get involved in. What I tell people now is that this is the most interesting part of Minneapolis, that our city is going to look totally different in the next 10 years, right? Yeah. It's going to look totally different. So if you think about some of the big projects, right? So we talk about Upper Harbor, right? We talk about the Blue Line extension, right? There's also George Floyd Square, right? On 38th in Chicago. There's New Nicolette, right? Where the old Kmart spot is, right? There's so many opportunities for folks that are looking for input. And one of the things I'd like to say is that the best way to really be informed is to sign up for these department newsletters, right? Being able to sign up for NCR's newsletter as well. You can also go to City Council TV, right? And watch some of the public hearings and stay informed as well. And then the city's socials, I think, is important. Also, too, it's the relationships that you build with our community specialists and our neighborhood specialists. Like, sharing information to me is one of the most important things, because we can't hoard information, right? So however you get it, I tell people to share that with others. You can't just hold this information, because we are a community. And I love to use the word we instead of us, because that's not how we at NCR operate. It's about the collective good. So being able to be informed that way, and really I want to push this, and I push it all the time. 311 is our friend, right? I tell people all the time, you can call 311 for anything, and they will direct you. They have information in language. Like, 311 is so super important, and we're lucky enough to develop a relationship with the director and many folks at 311. It's a great service. So if there's any questions, you don't know exactly who, I don't know about you guys, but my fingers sometimes are like, just, they get arthritic, but I can dial 311 quickly and be able to get the information that I need.
Yep. And just so you know, there's also 311 app. 100%. So there's a lot of services, a lot of information that can be shared back and forth with the 311 app. I know it's springtime. It's that time of year. There are potholes all over the city. You can actually take a picture of a pothole and send it into 311 and have them get on that and fix that, hopefully. Yeah. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with our audience tonight?
Just really quickly, I think it's just really important to understand that information is power. Being able to, and I talked about it, share information with community. We all want a better Minneapolis. And really what I think is important for folks out in the community, that there are people in the city who are dedicated to engagement, who believe in the power of the people. The community has a voice, so being able to activate that is really important, because community voice makes changes in policy. So I really want to make sure folks understand that.
Yep, community voice and representation matters. 100%.
Absolutely.
Thank you for joining us tonight, Anthony. I appreciate it.
Thank you both. Have a great rest of your day.
Hey, thanks for listening to Minneapolis Air, American Indian Relations on Native Roots Radio.